All right, so the last section is the budget detail section, which we'll go over. This was obviously a little more complex than the rest of them, so we'll go into budget detail. And you should get this screen. What we expect for this budget, or excuse me, this funding announcement for all of the grantees in this agency budget would be the selection for you. I don't believe there should be any pass-through budgets. I believe all of you should be agency budgets, so just make sure that's selected and hit save. And that brings you to the screen. And you'll notice there's kind of three different sections. There's by recipient agency, by category, and by source. For this grant, you'll notice that only state and cash match are available for source. And we can go over that real quick. Basically, if your grant is $25,000 or under, your grant is 100% state funded, which means the entire amount of your grant would be entered on that state line. And then if your grant is above $25,000, depending on how much, you would have a cash match. So that match portion would be listed on the cash match line there for by source. So once you enter those, you can go in and click on your organization's name, which you'll notice has the hyperlink right there. So we click on that. And now each category has a hyperlink that we can go through. We can go through the differences in each section. Personnel, and the corresponding section that kind of goes with it is employee benefits. Basically, if you have an employee that you will be paying for security or anything related to the grant, you can put them under personnel, their expense under personnel. So if you could click on personnel. And then you'll notice this on each budgetary category, there is a justification. We just ask that you just put a very brief description there. And if you have a security guard or something else of that nature that you're using, that's fine. And then hit the add new line button. And basically what we're asking here is the position. So you just kind of give a brief, just the job title of the individual, security, and then their name. All right, and then below you see there's budgeted hours a week, number of weeks, hourly pay rate, and what the standard working hours are. Say you have an individual that works 40 hours a week, but they're only going to work 4 hours a week on the grant. How you would do that is you would put 4 as the budgeted hours a week, and then for the number of weeks, you put the number of weeks that you expect the grant to last. You would put their hourly pay rate there. And then they put their 40 as their standard working hours. And basically, you'll notice now that the cost has been calculated, and the percentage of budgeted hours is 10%, which is what we would expect, since 4 out of 40 would be 10%. After that, you would just hit save. And you'll notice that the individual is saved there. And then you just hit save, and that will save the personnel. And then if that individual has benefits, you can charge the percentage of benefits to the grant. So it's kind of the same way. You would have to put in just a quick justification, kind of maybe just explaining what the benefits are. And after you do that, you can click on the drop down, and you'll select the individual and hit add new line. So FICA is a very typical one. It's 7.65% of the pay. Medical is also there. Any benefit they have, you can put on there. You just do medical as the example. I hit the add selected benefit type. So it brings up the benefit, the cost, and cost of benefit paid by grant. So we'll just say the medical insurance is $5,000. And what will happen is, since you budgeted 10% of their hours, you can only charge 10% of their benefit costs. So for this example, we would expect only $500 to be paid by the grant. So you'll notice the budgeted hours percentage of 10 equals the percentage budgeted cost of 10 on the right side there. That was just highlighted. That's what we expect to see. And then you can obviously add as many benefits as you wish, and then just hit the save button. And hit the save to get the benefits. The next section is travel, including training. If you were to pay individuals within your organization for travel or training, this is where you'd put that section. It's kind of the same way. Enter justification and then hit add new line. And you just kind of have the purpose of travel, location, and item. This section typically does not show up on these grants, but there is a possibility. If you have an organization or individual going for training, we would expect to see that here. So you could just put the purpose of training being travel being training, the location. And this question does come up. You are not required to have the training in the state of Pennsylvania. If it's outside the state, we typically ask that you make a good faith effort to have it in Pennsylvania, but that's not a requirement. So obviously, as with the benefits, there's the drop down. You have mileage, per diem, lodging, training registration costs, airfare, and other. You just kind of do the same things you would, hit the add button. And you'll say the number of miles traveled to the training, and then obviously the number of trips and the rate, which we do go by the GSA rates. So you can check out the GSA website if you have questions regarding that, and then just hit the save button. And hit save again. And the next section is equipment. This is a popular one for this grant. Same as always, just put a quick justification in there. And then another point to bring up with the procurement details, if you do have the item that's over $10,000, if you just mention in the justification that it was competitively selected, that'll make everybody's life a lot easier. So equipment is for any item with a unit cost greater than 5,000. I should say 5,000 and greater, sorry. If you've servers, some other items we've had, same thing, you would just type in the quick description of the item, the total unit cost, the quantity, and the amount applied to the grant. For the most part, we are seeing that the amount applied to the grant for these expenses are 100%. So, but if you're wishing to buy an item and not have it fully covered by the grant, you could put whatever percentage you want there. And then you would just hit the save button and then hit save again. Should you do enter any equipment, you will have to fill out a report at the end of the project. We will quickly go over at the end of this training. The next section is supplies and operating expenses. This is basically this very similar section to equipment, with the exception being that the unit cost is less than $5,000. So it'd be pretty much the same thing. Enter a quick description of the supply, cameras, whatever necessary item you have, and say the unit cost is $100, and however many cameras, you put the quantity of cameras being purchased, and a amount applied to grant. Just a quick note here, if the items do go over 5,000, they would remain here because it's based on unit cost. not the total cost of the item. And you can just hit save and hit save again. All right, the next section is consultants. This is another very popular section for this grant. Since most of the projects are having people come in and installing wiring, installing electrical work, that's where this would go. So if you hire an electrician, you would just put them, just type in name of the organization, of the company, and whatever, and the service they're providing. All right, so there are different cost variants for this. We are seeing a lot, and obviously we understand with construction that a lot of that is done as a flat fee, as a job rate. In that case, you would select the flat fee button. However, if they're doing it, if they're being charged hourly or daily based on the contract that your organization has with the consultant, you would just put it that way, and then you would just put in the amount and duration if necessary. And then you can just hit save. Should you have a consultant charge you for travel, you would put it in the consultant travel section, same way you did the travel for personnel. Not necessarily something that happens very often with these grants, but it's a possibility. And we would not expect to see anything in the consultant products or service category below. We expect that to be blank for this grant. And then once you have all that completed, you would just hit save. And then construction. So if you're having a wall built or something along those matters where it's not easily broken out between the different expenses, you can just put the total here. So say you're getting security gate and it's $25,000 gate, and it's not clear where the 25 is being broken out into. You would just put in, you can just put that in here. So you just put security gate and whatever the amount is, and put that in, and then just hit the total and hit the save button. And hit save. The other category, I would not expect to see anything in the other category for this grant. Everything should be direct expenses. But it's the same thing pretty much. If you do have anything that you're not sure where to put, you can put it in the other category, and we can work to get it corrected if necessary. It's kind of the same way as the other section where you just put in and then hit save. All right, so once you have all those sections filled out, you'd hit the return to budget summary, and you'll notice we now have expenses loaded up. So basically it looks like it's $43,816, if I'm seeing that correctly. And what you'll have to do is, since this would be technically above the threshold for the grant, you would have to have both state and cash match. So in the by source below, you would have to enter those numbers, and let's see here. Looks like it'd be about 32,945 would be the breakout for this grant. And the difference would be 10,871. So that matches up. So here's the big thing I want to point out. There's 3 totals on this section. You'll notice in the blue at the top for under by recipient agency, by category, and by source. In this situation, it's $43,816. Those all must match to set this budgetary summary to complete. If it does not match, you will get an error message. So We have these completed. We can mark the completion status as complete and hit save.